Sitaram, once again welcome to the fourth episode of SWA. Today we will be focusing on the deities representing the different facets of the Supreme Being. Bear in mind that there is but one God. And that one God, the infinite, has manifested himself in finite forms so that for easy understanding, when we understand those finite forms of God, we have a concept. We can never fully know him and understand him, but we have a concept of what that God we worship represents. So the Supreme Being is Mahavishnu, not Vishnu. Vishnu by itself is the sustainer. We'll come to that. Mahavishnu, or a form that we are familiar with, the Virat Swarup. This is the form he revealed to Arjuna. And there were other instances when he revealed that form. This is Mahavishnu, who encompasses, as we see, the Shiva, the Brahma, the Vishnu, and all of those deities. And this Mahavishnu, over each rungs of creation, which we call a kalpa, will manifest 24 times. Forms like Narasimha Bhagwan, Vaman Kachap Avatar, the tortoise form, Matsya, the fish form, all these, up to this point in time, we have had 23 such incarnations, the last being Buddha, whom the Western world calls Buddha, and the fourth one, Kalki, is still to come in this rungs of creation. But in those 24 forms, Shri Ram was the 18th in manifestation, Bhagwan Krishna was the 20th manifestations, but one that slips by and is very important, especially for health, is Dhanvantari Bhagwan. In his 12th manifestation, God came as the Lord of medicine to establish the relevance of medicine in the world, to ease pain, to cure diseases, etc. And that form is known as Dhanvantari Bhagwan. It is celebrated approximately 2 days before Diwali every year. That's the day he came on earth. Diwali is the Amavasya, on the new moon. He came on the Trayodashi, the 13th phase of the moon. New moon is the 15th phase of the moon. But remember, these are measured according to the lunar movements. That's why we say approximately 2 days before Diwali, it's Dhanteras. That day when we do puja and honor and learn of the teachings of Dhanvantari Bhagwan, so that we might be able to carry it forward, imbibe that knowledge in our lives, and manage our health issues in a better way. So it's a very important manifestation. Now, in the structure of Godhead, we have the Trinity. So the Supreme, to highlight his creative powers, he comes as Brahma. He projects as Brahma. He does not come as Brahma. A part of him, an ans, that's what we call an ans, projects himself as Brahma. For sustenance, food, shelter, and clothing. For mankind, he projects himself as Vishnu. And then the great dissolver, Bhagwan Shiva, he projects himself as. So we get into a little more detail, starting with the creator. So Brahma, the creator, Lord Brahma. Notice he is the four-faced God. This Sanatana Dharma is riddled with metaphors. When we say the four-faced God, it means he who symbolizes four faces, four mouths, four brains, because the original books of knowledge are 4 in number, the 4 Vedas. And so each of those 4 Vedas had its recitation done by Brahma. So that's where the symbolism comes in. By each of his 4 mouths, one Veda was repeated. Having the knowledge, Ved means knowledge, not knowledge for Hindus, not knowledge for, it's knowledge for the world, for the children of the world. So Brahma is that creative aspect of God, bringing knowledge if we want to be creative in our life. If as a student we have to be creative, find creative ways of doing an assignment, we seek the blessings of Brahma. In a work environment, if we have to expedite processes, and if we have to do things differently, expeditiously, efficiently, we seek the blessings of Brahma, that creator. Strange enough, he does not find himself very commonly in a puja room. which is one wonders why, because Hindus worship according to Tithi. Classic Hindu worship is according to Tithi, not Bar. Bar is day. One might say, okay, Mondays is a designated day for the worship of Durga Mata. That is true. That is Puranic history. But Shastric law says that Durga Mata prevails on 2 phases of the moon, on the 3rd and the 9th. In fact, all the Devis on the 3rd and the 9th phase of the moon, they prevail. So the ideal time to perform Devi Puja will be twice on leading to new moon and twice leading to full moon. So 4 times in a calendar month, it's auspicious for the worship of Durga Mata. Second to that will be Monday. Now, because of that purview, because of that status, Brahma was designated 2 phases of the moon each month. The second phase on the dark half and the bright half. So if a deity supposed to be worshipped, appointed worship on 2 days of the month, he should find a place in our prayer room. And as far as his bar or day of worship, Brahma's day is Thursday. So we move now to his spouse, Saraswati Mata. We know she is the goddess of music, learning, knowledge, and so forth. But she is equally the goddess of speech. How can we worship Saraswati Mata, seek her blessings with this tongue? Om, Aim, Klim, Saraswati Namaha. Very potent mantra. And with the same tongue. We get a bad drive on the road, somebody rubs us wrong. With the same tongue, obscene language comes out. So this vessel becomes polluted. And then it doesn't carry the necessary drive and potency when we take this very tongue that has been polluted with obscenities and then attempt to recite the name of Saraswati Mata and do it with reverence. So they have got to be in sync with each other. The worship of Saraswati Mata as the goddess of speech should teach us that the language also has got to be clean and pure. Next we come to the sustaining aspect of God, Bhagwan Vishnu. A good indicator of whether it's the Vishnu or the Mahavishnu, one will see from the Nabhi, from the navel, Brahma is connected. That is the sustainer Vishnu. The other one, which carries the 4 emblems, the Shank, the Chakra, Gada and Padma, which is the Conch, the Sankh, the club, the Gada, the lotus and the lotus flower and the wheel, the Sudarshan Chakra, those emblems of Mahavishnu have been passed on to sustainer Vishnu. So the difference in identifying from the sustainer Vishnu comes Brahma emanates. This Vishnu Bhagwan represents the sustaining aspect of God. That he is the one we go to and we get refuge, we take refuge in him. So that we'll be never be out of clothing, we'll be never out of food, we'll be never out of a shelter. And that's the graces of the sustaining aspect of Bhagwan displayed by Vishnu Bhagwan. This difference of the Vishnu and the Mahavishnu has been archived by Sankhya TV in our first satsang, where we focused on the difference between the Mahavishnu and the Vishnu. So one can refer to that site to get a little more clarity and about that difference, that significant difference. Then his spouse, Vishnu's spouse, is Lakshmi. Lakshmi Mata, who came from the churning of the ocean. We know her as the goddess of wealth, but more than that, because wealth does not necessarily mean prosperity. Prosperity is in a league of its own. Prosperity, which is unnati to possibly highlight, is when one moves from one station in life to a higher station in life by fair means. That is unnati. That is the advent of Lakshmi Mata's blessing in one's life, to progress, to go up the ladder. Then comes the third major projection of Bhagwan, the great dissolver, Bhagwan Shiva, along with his spouse, Parvati Mata. Lord Shiva is the great dissolver. When we dissolve something, we take some salt, we take some sugar, we dissolve it, and we subject it to heat, and the chemistry students will know by a process of distillation. From that tampered with sugar, that polluted sugar, that adulterated sugar, will get pure sugar by the mere act of dissolving. So too this body has its impurities. It's adulterated with vices and bad thoughts and malpractices. And hopefully it's adulterated, not in a very, we have to be like that. It is, these things sometimes creep in our lives. And so we get to Bhagwan Shiva, listen to Shiv Puran, follow satsang, follow his katha, and learn the art of dissolving these impurities. And from that, through the recitation of mantra, through the recitation of the philosophy of Bhagwan Shiva, we once more become pure beings, or close to being pure. And his spouse, Parvati Mata, she projects herself in various forms. In the case of Durga Mata, she is the one who is the protector of upright human beings. When the wicked people of the world perpetrate their ill thoughts and ill deeds upon the world, and there is not any sort of recourse for the good people of the world, through their earnest prayer, Mother Parvati takes her fiery form of Durga and gets down and protects the world. So she is in truth and fact a cosmic mother. Yeah. So next we move to Sri Hanuman. When Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra was about to exit the world, he turned to Hanuman. All the deities had come down on earth, taken different forms just to be in the Leela, in the play of Sri Ramchandra. It was time now to exit. So they were all exiting with the Lord, exiting from earth. And the Lord turned to Hanuman Baba. He says, "You remain here." And I quote, "Chiranjeeva rahahutma jabaravi lagishishish tihuse watmiti hahi sakala dustar katin kalesh." He said, Hanuman, as long as the sun and the moon traverse the skies, you remain here. In other words, Hanuman, you remain as long as this world is in existence. And whoever comes to you in worship, in puja, honestly before you, dustar katin kalesh, may your blessings remove and help them remove the obstacles, and equally help them to hurdle those obstacles. Because sometimes in life, we don't want God to remove all our obstacles. Then how will we get strength? How will we have the reserve, the resource, that when a challenge comes, the art of hurdling? And that's where Hanuman Baba's blessings comes in. He is there to help us hurdle, and sometimes we fall flat in ground. There's an old Japanese saying, what is worse than falling down is standing still. That if we go through life and we didn't take a fall and dust the pants and get up back and get on with life, how will we learn to stand on our feet? If we take the secure position of just not trying anything new, how will the world ever progress? How will we move from a fan to air condition? Because we have to move. It's a dynamic state to achieve the best of life. And Hanuman Baba is that God, especially when we fall flat and we need to bounce back. He is a deity that should be worshipped under such circumstances. So right after the Trinity, he represents all the deities, especially in this age. Then we come to Bhagwan Ganesha, the younger son of Bhagwan Shiva and Mother Parvati, the elder son being Kartikeya Swami, whom we will refer to in a little bit. Among his blessings, because we know he is also the bestower of knowledge, he bestows a sharp memory. That student who goes with the correct attitude to his or her work will remember it. That student who leaves all his work for the last 2 days before exam, crams as we say, the memory fails. So Bhagwan Ganesh teaches us to be students not only at exam time, but throughout the term. His grace is also pivotal when we make journeys, because he's also known as Vigna Vinayak, the remover of obstacles. There might be untold obstacles, unforeseen obstacles in the course of a journey. Sometimes, again, we harp on the students because that's where the future is. Sometimes the student might be there going to an exam. They left promptly as they should before exam, but that day there was some mishap on the road, a lot of traffic, and it was unforeseen. But through Ganesh Baba's blessings, something will come in that we might leave a tad earlier that morning and avoid such obstacles. He is very important in obstacles and journeys and making a marital bond an institution. Remember, in his 12 revered names, the last line says, if you take the names of Bhagwan Ganesh, Vidyaram Bhe Vivahecha, Vivahecha. He is the salient deity in a marriage institution. So when people have anniversaries, etc., couples that is, it is always good to include in their worship Ganesh Baba, because he carries this. This Ganesh Baba, was there from the beginning. He was known as Ganapati. And then when the episode of the advent of a son had to come between Bhagwan Shiva and Mother Parvati, that Ganapati appeared in a babe form, and then we know the other Shiv Puran history where that head was taken off and replaced with the Ganesh, the elephant head, and there that Ganesh is known as the son of Shiva and Parvati. Now we come to Suryanarayan Swami, the Lord of the Sun. He has a pivotal role in life. We all know that. The plants exist through photosynthesis, and once the plants exist, we benefit. And photosynthesis, one of the necessary ingredients for photosynthesis to take place is sunlight. As far as human existence is concerned, oh yes. If were it not for the control of the temperature by the sun's rays, then we might have extreme cold, we might have extreme heat, making life virtually impossible. So whether it is char or achar, animate or inanimate, movable or immovable, Suryanarayan Swami, the sun god's input, is pivotal to any form of life. Therefore, his worship is also very important. At some point in time, the Vidyalaya will be dealing with, on this program, what is Surya Pranayam. There's a lot about the worship of Bhagwan Surya, especially those who ride on his chariot. This picture only depicts Suryanarayan Swami, but there are a lot of influential company that he has that plays a significant role in our daily life, which we will talk about subsequently. Suffice it to say at this point in time, the role of Suryanarayan Swami in one's daily worship. Regarding those who sit on the chariot of Suryanarayan Swami, he himself projects in 12 forms, each in 1 month of the year. For instance, in this month of Jeshta, he is known as Mitradev. So his form changes each month. That is something one needs to take note of in his worship. He has a representative of the Apsara kingdom, of the Gandharva kingdom, of the Yaksh kingdom, of the Rishis, of the Rakshasas, of the Naga kingdom, the snake kingdom. They all sit, these categories of beings all send a representative to sit with Suryanarayan each month, a different representative each month, and they all additionally play a role in our life. So as we say, we'll develop that, but it's good to take note of it, that the worship of Suryanarayan could be very intense and very meaningful and beneficial. Added to that, don't ever forget, he is the godfather, the guru of that Hanuman which we spoke about before. All right. The only stable, the only regular accompaniment to the Rath or the chariot of Suryanarayan Swami are the 60,000 Balkilya Rishis who dance around the chariot, and depending on how they are wooed, they point the direction in which Suryanarayan Swami goes. So if we want the graces of Suryanarayan Swami, we also have to tap into the graces, the kripa, the mercy of those Balkilya Rishis. We come now to the elder son of Bhagwan Shiva and Mother Parvati, Kartikeya Swami, who is, we know him as the Lord of Warfare, but more than the Lord of physical warfare, he's the Lord of the warfare of mental attrition, the disease of the mind. This is the daily battle each and every one of us face. And the Kartikeya Swami, this son of Bhagwan Shiva and Parvati Mata, his graces, his worship, and when we say graces and worship and puja, we are talking about the history, the teachings of Kartikeya Swami that will help us to counter each of these wars of battles that we fight on a daily basis. So we might just be giving just a brief example as we go along. The first of those diseases, lust, which is known as scam. Lust has its positive and negative signs. All of these have their positive and negative signs. We are focusing here on the negative impact. Suffice it to say that lust in a couple who has a married institution is an important ingredient in that the stability of that relationship. But we are talking about the lust when inside of an institution, inside of a relationship, maybe not yet married, but there's engagement, there's courtship, what have we, one of the partners find themselves out of that fidelity that exists between the couple. And that sort of lust, says the Puranas, is detrimental. One becomes preoccupied, one's daily thoughts, when involved in such extramarital, etc. relationships, one's mind become immersed in survival, and everything else takes a second place, and that is the first casualty of that disease of the mind. We lose focus. Second, anger. One writer once says, anger is a wonderful possession. Don't lose it. Because when we become angry, you know, the spoken word, the spent opportunity, and the sped arrow, they are virtually irretrievable. When an arrow is shot and it strikes its target, if its target is a human being, even self, the arrow were to be removed, and that could have been a fatal blow. So it's difficult to undo that which has been done. And the spoken word in anger, sometimes out of anger, we don't lend too much thought to what we are about to say, and we hurt people. And no matter how many sorries and mujhe maaf karo, etc. we utter and offer, we might be forgiven, but might be not necessarily we might not be forgotten. What we did might not be forgotten. And anger has to be controlled. One of the recommendations for anger, it is said, you know, people will tell you, well, look, you count to 10 before you respond to something that is challenging, that is something that has you uneasy. Sanatana Dharma says it a different way. It is said that every day it is good to take a mantra, a short mantra, and recite it 108 times. During the recitation of that mantra, concentrate on a bit of the meaning of the mantra, but it also serves to temper the senses, to bring a degree of control to oneself. So one who is regular in such a practice might be less prone to becoming angry in responding to a situation, as the case may be. Then comes greed. Greed only means instead of eating one piece of sada, we eat 3 pieces of sada. Or instead of one sandwich, we eat 4 sandwiches. That is just physical greed, when at all costs we want to have something, and we'll go to any extreme, climb on anybody's back, use whatever contact we have, and just to get what we want. Now, when we talk about contact, sometimes we are talking in the context of you have a contact, a link somewhere, and some person who is deserving an opportunity is bypassed because of your link with the person who is pulling the strings. And that sort of greed, in accordance with Newton's third law of motion, which we often refer to satsang, but we do so not for redundancy or repetitiveness, but for the fact that it is premised on the laws of karma. To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And if we use these shady ways to satisfy our selfish ambitions, born of greed, then we too will have to suffer the consequences of our ill actions. Then comes the 4th disease of the mind, haught. It's a close cut between haught, mud, and abhiman, or man, as you say in abbreviation, which is pride. There's a difference in Sanatana Dharma when we talk about haught and pride. Pride is when one's view is of one's surroundings. That, look, I'm above that. You know, I will not get down there. That's how we view our surroundings, whether it is true or not. That's our interpretation. And mud is haught. Now the spotlight focuses on the individual, who I am. I am above that. And that's where condescending plays a major role in haught. And to condescend on people, to look down on people, to talk down on people, it's not a very palatable thing for an audience. And one can turn off an audience and turn off close people when mud is practiced. So it is a quality, it is a disease rather, that should be controlled. And that comes from humility. Sant Tulsidas ji, first word in Ramayana. We are not talking about his bandhana, the Ramayana Sumiran. That is invocation, it's also a katha. His first word, Bandau Guru Parapadma Praga, Bandau. Bandau, it's subjunctive mood. It carries 4 meanings. Suffice it to say, bottom line, it was an act of humility. In a nutshell, Tulsidas ji, who was authorized to write on Ramayana, he says, I don't think I am fit to prostrate, not to my Guru's feet, but to the dust of my Guru's feet. Matsar. So the 5th disease is Matsar, envy. When we are envious of people's position, quick to debunk how they reach there, and not taking time off to realize that they reach there by hard work, by honest work, by great effort. And sixthly, finally, ignorance. It is said in Ramayana, the worst of the root of all these diseases is ignorance. Ignorance can only be cleared at the feet of a spiritual mentor, whom in Sanatana Dharma we call a guru or a sadguru, as the case may be. Get to a guru, get to satsang, and all ignorance will be removed. And now we come to, finally, in this section, the very spouse of Kartikeya Swami, who, Kartikeya Swami, should find himself in each and every puja room, who, if we are not familiar with the 6th phase of the moon for his worship, likewise his spouse, on a Tuesday is the approved day, 2nd in merit for their worship. Shasta Devi, as we have established before in the prayer structure, which is through Sankhya TV, is aired every morning at 6 o'clock. All these deities we are speaking about here, there are bullet points about them. We expand this just to emphasize the importance of this basic prayer structure. She is the pediatrician among the gods. So in other words, that her worship should find a place in everyone who has a family from young children, from infant, from newborn, go right up. She has to find a place. Her first role comes into play on the 6th day of birth. So if today is the first day of birth, let's say today is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday will be the 6th day. Day 1 of birth, day 1 being the day of birth. On the 6th day is the appropriate day to bathe the baby. Before that, we sponge off the baby. We let water touch the head of the baby on that day. And on that day, the mantra of Varun Devata, the god of waters, is invoked. And the puja of Shasta Devi, we ask her, Ma, come and help us to take care of this babe, to preserve this babe's health. And the first bath takes place on a Tuesday, a Thursday, and a Sunday. If for instance the first day of birth was Friday, then obviously the 6th day will be Wednesday. The Baba will look at the patra, see between the Tuesday, which is the 5th day, and the Thursday, which is the 7th day, which is more astrologically suited for the advent of the worship of Shasta Devi. All the same, she is the Devi to be worshipped on the first bath of the child, where water hits the head. And her worship should carry itself throughout life, especially the child stage of life. And she ought to be worshipped daily, as the prayer structure suggested. Once more, we thank you for joining us, and we meet and greet next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. courtesy Sankhya TV. We'll be going on to the further manifestations of Bhagwan. Sitaram, thank you.